Hi besties. In today's video, I'm gonna be sharing my labor and delivery story time with you guys. I was 18 years old when I gave birth, but I'm currently 19 and my baby is 3 months. I'm gonna get straight forward to it, if that makes sense. My due date was August 2nd of 2024. And if y'all keep up with me, y'all know me and my husband were long distance. So I was living in Mexico when I was pregnant. I came to the US when I was 6 months pregnant, I believe. 6 months going into 7. And I'm not going to lie, it was super hard to find an OBGYN since I was so far along. There was only one hospital that did take me in, but I did not want to give birth there. One, because I've heard like really bad reviews from this hospital. I was already so freaking scared to give birth there. It is a small hospital where I was gonna give birth at. So I was just honestly thinking the worst. Like, what if like my baby needs to be on the NICU? They don't have a NICU there. But I still ended up going to my daily checkups there. And my doctor, the one that was gonna, deliver me, she did tell me what they had told me my due date was in Mexico. And I told him that it was August 2nd. My doctor was all like, oh, we'll just keep it as that. When I had gone to my 38.5 week appointment, I had dilated 2 centimeters. Then the following week, when I was, I think, 39 weeks, I was still at 2 centimeters. And my doctor had told me that she wasn't going to be there to deliver me, so they were going to change me doctors. I was so scared because I had already opened up to her. Like, she had literally already saw my kuha. In my head, I was thinking, man, like another doctor's gonna have to see my kuha. I already had an iffy feeling because she wasn't gonna be back till the 6th of August. And she said that if I still was induced, she was gonna induce my labor. So I was like, man, I don't think I can make it that far. Like, a whole other doctor's gonna have to deliver me. Like, she doesn't know nothing about my pregnancy. So I was already scared. On July 27th, around 9:30 in the morning, I had woke up with like bad contractions, but they were light. Like, they felt like period cramps. I remember I tried going back to sleep because I was still tired. No, honey, I could not go back to sleep. Like, they were so bad. And I got out of bed and I went to go tell my mom, like, Mom, like, I'm feeling cramps. And then she was like, they're probably contractions. She told me to go out with my cousin, like, to the mall. And if I got them, like, every 20 minutes, then there were contractions. I did go out with my cousin. And let me tell you, I got those contractions every 20 minutes. I remember we went to Texas Roadhouse. Girl, I was literally gripping my ass to the chair. Right next to the Texas Roadhouse, there's a Ross. So I started getting stuff from my hospital bag because I did not have my hospital bag ready. I got me some slippers. I got me a blanket. I had bought my daughter like a newborn onesie. And then we got home and I started doing like my hospital bag, my baby's diaper bag. I started getting everything ready in case these motherfuckers got worse. I remember I went to the restroom and my mucus plug came out. Honey, like, I was like, what the hell is happening to me? Like, I'm new to this. My mom was like, oh, like, that's what comes out like before you go into labor. The contractions, like, they were like every 30 minutes. And I know before you go to the hospital, they have to be like every like 3 minutes, more often. I knew if I put up to the hospital, they were gonna send my ass home. I called my cousins. My cousins came over and they were just there with me. I even called the hospital and told them what I was feeling. They told me I could either take a Tylenol or take a warm bath. Since my water didn't break, there was no reason for me to go to the hospital. I took a warm bath and let me tell you, my baby started kicking like crazy. Like, she was moving up there, but I still had contractions. As soon as I got the shower, I took a nap. The whole night, I feel like I only got like 30 minutes worth of a nap because the contractions would wake me up every 15 minutes. So I couldn't sleep. Finally, around 6:30 in the morning, I decided to go wake my mom up, literally in tears almost. And I was like, hey, like, please take me to the hospital. Like, my contractions are so bad. So my dad started getting the car loaded with like my bags and all of that. I wanted one of my cousins to be there when I gave birth. So I did call her and told her I was on my way to the hospital. When I got to the hospital, I went through the ER and they still made me fill out paperwork. I was literally in the waiting room filling out paperwork. It's 7:10. I just made it to the hospital. On my way over here, I got like 4 contractions. They hurt so bad. If I'm not going into labor, I don't know what the fuck this is. This better not be no fake labor shit because I can't. These literally take my tears out. They then checked my blood pressure, and my blood pressure was super freaking high, and the nurse didn't even mention it not one time. She didn't say anything. She did my blood pressure twice. My mom saw, because my mom knows about like blood pressure and all that, and she saw that it was high, and my mom thought it was weird, but whatever, like we brushed it off. And then they took me to the labor and delivery room. I did a urine sample, and then that's it. The nurse comes in, and bestie, she gave me like this thick of freaking paperwork. As soon as I saw her walking with that paperwork, I wanted to grab it and literally slap her with it, because you're literally almost in labor, having contractions, and then they just come and tell you to fill out this paperwork. Why? She did me a dilating test, and I was at 2 centimeters still. I was still at 2 centimeters. I was like, man, this baby is not gonna come out anytime freaking soon. I was able to take like a 30-minute nap until the doctor came again, and she did another cervix check, and guess motherfucking what, I was still at 2 centimeters. So they just sent me home, and they told me to go back if either my water breaks. So I got sent back home, thankfully, because I didn't want to be in there if I wasn't going to labor. But I'm still getting contractions. They said if my water breaks to go back, or if I'm getting a contraction. Either way, we're gonna leave all of the baby stuff in my mom's backseat in case I do have to come back, and my my diaper bag and my hospital bag and her car seat. But the nurse was super nice. I'm still 2 centimeters. She said if my water breaks to go back. She says that I'll probably go back in 1 day or 2 days. They think I will give birth any day now. So yeah, at least I get to go home and lay down at home. It was so boring in the hospital. I hated it. All they told me was that I was in active labor. I was low-key upset because I could not tolerate the contractions like for another day. Like this was gonna be my second night going with contractions, so I already knew it was gonna be a long ass day. I remember at 11 at night, I was on the yoga ball trying to dilate, trying to get this baby, you know, to get into labor. That Sunday night, I was getting the contractions every 5 minutes, so I got no sleep. I would lay down for 10 minutes, and then literally at exactly 10 minutes I would get the other contraction. So I got my ass up. I remember it was 5 in the morning, and I had gone to the kitchen literally crying. I couldn't. My brother had got home like around 7 in the morning, and I was out. He saw me walking around the whole house, and he was like, what's wrong? I was like, I have really bad contractions, like they hurt so bad. And my brother was like, come on, let's go outside. And we have like a little step outside our door, so he told me to do curb walks. I did them for like 15 minutes. Bitch, my contractions went from every 5 minutes to every 2 minutes. My brother was like, call my mom. I was like, no, like she's working. She told me she'll be home at 9 so we can go to the hospital. Like I'll just wait when she gets off of work. My brother calls my mom and tells her, hey, like Gladys has really bad contractions. She was awake when I got here. And mom was like, okay, I'm gonna go right now, like tell her to get her stuff ready. When my mom gets here, she's ready. She's all mom mode. Gets my shit. Literally tells me to like get in the car. I remember my cousin had called my mom, and my mom told her like, oh, like we're about to go to the hospital. And my cousin was like, just take her to a different ER, because if y'all probably go to the same one, they already have bad reviews. They're probably going to send her home. Just take her to a different ER. So I called my cousin, the one that I wanted her to be there for my delivery, and I told her like, hey, I'm on my way to the hospital. My cousin was already at work, so they let her leave. She meets us over there at the hospital. As soon as I get off the hospital, like I go in to check in like in the ER. They didn't ask me to do no paperwork. Right away they sat my ass down on a wheelchair. They got my information, and they took me to a room. They were just asking me like how far along I was, and if I had any complications, you know, like normal basic questions, not actual paper. They had actually checked my blood pressure, and they were shocked to see how high my blood pressure was. They actually pointed out, not compared to the other hospital. So they sent me to, I believe, the ER emergency room. They inserted the IV. They were getting my information. They were typing it in the computer. So while one of the nurse was getting my information, the other nurse was inserting the IV and the magnesium, because the nurse did tell me I had preeclampsia. She was just telling me that I was going to be on magnesium during birth, and after birth I was gonna be on magnesium for 24 hours. Like in my head I was like, what if I would have gave birth in the other hospital and something would have happened to me? Like like it's a small hospital. They probably wouldn't have like the equipment for me, or wouldn't my baby need to be in the NICU? After that, they inserted the catheter and they switched me to the labor and delivery room. My cousin gets there, and keep in mind, it was in the morning when I went to the hospital. I did not eat anything, so I was super hungry, but I couldn't eat anything. My cousin and my mom, they went downstairs to eat, I think, Cane's. Bitch, I was mad as hell. Thankfully, while they went to go eat fucking dragonas, I was able to take a long ass nap because the contractions low-key calmed down after I got the magnesium and the IV. I think it was just too much on my body, and I woke up around, I think, 6. When I woke up, those contractions were freaking hitting. They were bad. The nurse came in with the peanut ball, told me to put it in between my legs. Worst thing ever. That shit was not helping. I literally wanted to pop that ball. They gave me the Pitcoin. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but they had also gave me the Pitcoin to like fast up my labor. When the nurse did a cervix check, she did tell me that the doctor was gonna come in and break my water to see if that would speed up my labor. She ended up not. She told me that the doctor was just gonna let it break on its own. Before I decided to get the epidural, I was getting bad contractions, and my mom would give me massage on my legs. I don't know why that felt good to me, and the reason why I decided to get the epidural is because I felt like I was making my body go through so much. Like, I was already dealing with contractions for 2 nights straight. What gave it to me was that the nurse did a cervix check, and I was barely at 5 centimeters going into 6. I was like, fuck no, like, give me the epidural. I can't do this. Like, I'm pretty sure it's gonna take a while for me to get at 10 centimeters. Whenever the pharmacy tech, I know they have a special name, but I'm not that smart, he came with the epidural. I saw that needle. I was like, hell no. That needle was like this, huge as hell. The pharmacy told me to sit up straight, and they lifted up my gown. The nurse was all like, you can pinch me, you can scratch me, you can hold me as tight as you need or want. So I was holding the nurse, and I was holding her scrubs, and I just felt the needle go in. It doesn't hurt. Like, you can feel what they're inserting in you. Like, it feels super cold going down my spine. But it wasn't that bad. I'd rather the epidural than going through the contractions. So after the epidural, I was able to chill for like 3 hours. After getting the epidural, I took another nap because, honey, I needed to catch up on my sleep. I believe like after 3 hours, I woke up and the contractions were at it again. So I called up my nurse. I'm like, why am I getting contractions again? And she came and did a cervix check, and she told me my water had already broke and I was at 10 centimeters. I was like, now hold on, when did this happen? So she told me we were gonna practice some fake pushes. I didn't know how to push. I'm like, how the hell am I gonna push? Like, what am I supposed to do? So 2 of my cousins were there and my mom. So my cousins were holding on my legs and my mom was behind me, and the nurse was telling me like we're gonna do 3 rounds, and I would push every 10 seconds per round. I remember the nurse was all like, we're gonna try to bring the baby down, so start pushing. I started to push, and the nurse was like, okay, you brought the baby down, so we'll do another set of pushes in 40 minutes. I was all like, 40 minutes? Like, no, I'm ready to get this baby out. The contractions are bad. If you like feel like you need to push, call me and we can do another set. So I was already looking goofy, so my cousins, they got straight to it. They started doing my makeup. They called my husband to tell him to be ready because they were gonna FaceTime him so he could see my labor. As soon as they got doing my makeup, I was like, hell no, call the nurse. I need to push, I need to push, I need to push. Like, I need to take a shit. Like, that's how I felt. Call the nurse comes and she was all like, okay, start pushing. So we did another 3 rounds. The nurse put her fingers in and she said like the baby had a lot of hair, and I started doing pushes. And the nurse was like, oh my gosh, I see her head. And my cousin also told me that she saw her head. I started pushing like 2 more times, and the nurse was like, okay, like the baby's out, let me go get the doctor, because I could catch the baby, but I prefer the doctor to do it. She was like, don't push anymore, because if you push, you're gonna push out that baby and no one's gonna be able to catch it. Like, I could catch it, but I prefer the doctor to. I was holding in that push because, like I said, it feels like you need to take up. So she gets on the microphone, and literally the doctors and nurses, I feel like they were already outside my door because they came in like this. They start putting their gloves on, their masks, everything. And I just remember everyone in the room was like, don't push, don't push. Like, everyone got into position, and she was like, okay, start pushing. I think I was probably pushing for like 3 minutes or less, and my baby came out. She was born at 11:33. She was 5 pounds and 4 ounces, and she was 18 inches. Thankfully, my labor went super good. Like, nothing happened to me or to my little baby. It's all thanks to God. And I did get like a second degree tear, or I don't know if it was a second degree tear, but it was really bad because I was losing a lot of blood, and I did get stitches, obviously. After that, I just got kept in the magnesium. They had like these bombas on my legs, like, so I wouldn't get blood clots. This is my baby. She is now 3 months. She just woke up from her nap. I hope you guys enjoyed my labor and delivery story time, besties. I love you guys so much. Y'all are literally my world, and we love you. Say bye, mi amor. Dile bye. Bye.